Hey everyone, today I want to cover some of the various CSPs, customer satisfaction programs, that are essentially TSBs that were just issued for the 2022 GT500 as well as the 2023 Raptor R. Now, in the beginning of 2023, I did a video covering all the known CSPs, recalls, TSBs, basically all the known issues with the S550 GT500 that Ford had acknowledged up until that point. And shortly after I published that video, I got a lot of people inquiring with me if there had been any sort of recalls or TSBs regarding oil leaks on the engines of the GT500s. Some owners were reporting they were getting a little bit of oil leaking down the cam covers. Sometimes it was coming from the spark plug tubes, and it was leaking onto the exhaust manifold, and you could basically smell oil burning. It wasn't a tremendous amount of oil where it was really an issue with a fire, but it was annoying. You would smell it. You might see a little tiny bit of smoke if you opened the hood. So it was something that owners obviously wanted to rectify, having an oil leak on the engine of these brand new vehicles. Now, at the time, there was no official response from Ford. There was no TSBs or recalls issued at the time I published that video, but since then, that has changed. Ford has officially acknowledged some of the various leaks on these vehicles. So, the first week of October 2023, the letters went out to owners of 22 GT500s and 23 Raptor R owners. So normally when you get a letter in the mail from Ford, it's either going to be a CSP or a recall, and typically it'll have one number on it, and then you could take the appropriate corrective actions, go on the website to find information about it, or go to your dealer. What was different about this was there were 5 different CSP numbers on this letter that went out, and essentially to find out which ones your car was potentially having an issue with or your car qualified for, you had to go onto the Ford website, ford.com/support/recalls, put in your VIN number, and it would tell you which one of those 5 your car was on the list for. So you had 23B17, 23B18, 23B19, 23B20, and 23B25. Now, Tim from Shelby Flyer covered 23B17 a few months ago. That was a fairly big CSP. That was, I believe, about an 8-hour job for that. They had to pull the front of the timing cover off and really tear into the engine to deal with that leak. So I'll post his video above if your VIN number is on the list for the 23B17. In this video, I want to cover 23B18 and 23B25. Those are the 2 that my car was on the list for. So, like I said, just go on the Ford website with your VIN number. You could put it in under the recall section, and it will tell you which one of those 5 your car is on the list for. So numerical order, 23B18 issued September 20th, 2023. Certain 2023 model year, 5.2 liter F-150 Raptor Rs and GT500s, left and right cylinder head, rear cup plug, inspection and seal. This was for the 22 500s, 23 Raptor Rs, build dates April 29th, 2022 to March 8th, 2023. Same for both vehicle build dates. So essentially, the reason for this program is some of the affected vehicles, the engine head rear cup plugs may not have been properly installed. An improperly installed cup plug could result in the engine coolant leak, which may progress to a malfunction indicator light. If left unchecked, the engine may overheat and enter into a reduced performance state. The service action is that the dealers are going to check both cylinder head rear cup plugs and apply Loctite thread locker to the seals and plugs. This must be performed on the all affected vehicles at no charge to owners. I'll put all this information on the screen, every page, so you can digest it and read through it. This is not a huge deal. It's 1.1 hour labor time for the Raptor Rs and 2.2 hours for the GT500s because the Raptor Rs have more room, so you don't have to pull as much off of them. With the GT500s, it's a little bit more involved with this. They're gonna have to pull the exhaust system on it and a bunch of other things. I have the actual service procedure here. I'll also put that on the screen. The exhaust system behind the manifolds gets pulled to the catalytic converters. You're removing the strut tower cross brace, and technically when you remove that strut tower cross brace, you're supposed to remove the hood as well because the mount to hold it up is on the strut tower cross brace, so there's nothing to hold the hood up. So they're supposed to yank the hood. I guess you could, if you had another way to prop the hood up, somehow you could leave it on, but technically the way the manual says, I believe you're supposed to yank the hood. The battery tray comes off, a bunch of various heat shields come off, And on the backside of the engine, there are those sensors that they need to just basically reseal and make sure that they aren't leaking. So on the 500s, 2-hour job, it pays 2.2, so it's not a huge job, but you know, they do need to tear into the vehicle a little bit. And on the Raptor Rs, they don't have to do as much. I don't think the hood has to come off on the Raptor Rs. I don't think the exhaust system has to get dropped on the Raptor Rs, so that's why it's a much faster job for those vehicles. So just keep that in mind. You're gonna kind of have to go into the vehicle and remove a bunch of parts to accomplish this. So definitely keep an eye on that. If your vehicle's affected by 23B18, look for coolant leaks on the backside of the engine. If you are noticing coolant leak, that should be one of the first places that you look. And finally, 23B25, issued September 20th, 2023. Certain 2022 GT500s and 23 Raptor Rs. This is an engine valve cover replacement. For the GT500s, this is October 21st, 2021 through November 9th, 2022, as well as with the Raptor Rs, April 29th, 2022 to March 9th, 2023. Reason for this program: some of the affected vehicles may exhibit an engine valve cover oil leak around the spark plug wells caused by excessive movement of the spark plug seals. And you'll see just above that is an SSM number. I know a bunch of people referenced that issue a while back with them. This one is a little bit more involved because it is a much longer job. I don't have the full procedure here for it. I'll cover the information that I do have. It basically just refers to the manual for removing the valve covers on these cars. This is a much longer job. They're basically going to be pulling all the same stuff that they pulled for the last one, with the exception, I believe, of the exhaust. So battery tray, strut brace, hood is supposed to get yanked for all that stuff. On the Raptor Rs, it's 1.6 hours. For the GT500 without the track pack, it's 3.5. For track pack cars, it's 3.8 hours. So they're doing the left and the right valve covers on these things. And the procedure I have here for that, it basically just says remove and replace the valve covers, left hand, right hand, follow the workshop manual section for Raptor Rs and GT500s. Now, if you own a 23 Raptor R, you are not going to have as many of these CSPs because a lot of these got dealt with while the vehicles were still at the factory. Even the ones that got completed and were off the assembly line, some of them got pulled back in before they left the factory, and Ford just fixed them there so they didn't have to get fixed when they went to the dealers. I know there was a little bit of delay getting those trucks out that owners were discussing because they were fixing those issues, so you didn't have to basically go to the dealer and have those fixed. But I don't think any of these were dealt with at the factory for the GT500s, because I think all these notices, they kind of figured this problem out after all the cars were built. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, when you get this letter, even if you don't get the letter, go on Ford.com/support/recalls and put your VIN number in. If you have a 22 GT500 or a 23 Raptor R, one of those five is going to come up. I think some of these kind of supersede each other depending on if it's an issue or not. If it's a larger issue, not if it's a smaller one, you might have one of the smaller service procedures, but I think some of these various CSPs kind of overlap each other and cover the same things in more or less depth, depending on how many parts they need to deal with. So 18 to 23B18 is basically coolant leaks from the back of the engine. 23B25 that was a big one I know a lot of people brought up about oil leaking from the seals for the coil pack. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have an answer for all these various leaks from the engines. Now, like I said, these being CSPs, customer satisfaction programs, technically they do have expiration dates on them. They have September 30th, 2024 for 23B18, and for 23B25, they have the same date. This stuff's still covered under warranty if you have an issue. I haven't done any of these yet. My buddy is a Ford Senior Master Tech, and we were discussing doing these things, and we basically came up with the solution of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't have any of these leaks. I fortunately have the lift. I put this car up on the lift often. I check underneath it. I'm very thorough with checking this car, checking any issues. I'm gonna kind of see what happens. I'll drive the car, I'll thoroughly check it. If the problem comes up, I'm gonna deal with it. But I have a 10-year warranty for this car, so even if these do leak, we know where to go. We know what service procedures need to be done. And then I'm probably gonna deal with it for them, because this is a little invasive tearing into these things. So I don't want to cause any additional problems having these things done if I don't necessarily have an issue to begin with. But definitely make sure you thoroughly inspect your vehicle. If you have to take it to the dealer and have them inspect, you want to have it done, by all means. It's your vehicle, have it done, but I'm just going to kind of ride this out for a little bit and just kind of see if the issue does happen. This is not a guarantee that these will happen, there's just the potential. So as I drive the car, I'll be checking it very thoroughly. If it comes up, it will be dealt with. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of let it ride for a while, so we don't really need to tear into this vehicle to fix something that might not be an issue. But definitely check this out, know which ones your car is susceptible to, speak to your dealer, and definitely keep an eye under your hood to see if any of these issues are progressing if you decide to do like what I'm gonna do. And just not necessarily do it right away because, like I said, these will still be covered under warranty even if the CSP program expires, plus they usually extend them. Just to know if you are having an issue, you can get on it and make sure it is resolved accordingly. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.